A gander round the room revealed to her the sinner's willing stares. With eager stir the lawyer barged herself into her tale. With breathless words and noxious breath of ale.
Angel, I was in youth harmless to all. As age went on, out of glory I fall. Divinity I sought, a sin I got. Because laws broke for good confused my thought. To death I sent many a man without the due process of law. This sin let doubt upon my soul. For what country believes corrupt decrees? Efforts to guard naive ideals corrupt my heart and soul. Adore my life I can't, my work consumes a more. The world today cares about nothing more than being wealthy. Money corrupts the man who vows to shield people from injustice because the law is left without clearness. People without wary misplace their trust into that go into the hands of men misled by lust of wealth. Therefore, people muddle bad acts and good intents.
Hastily ending with these facts, she looked upon the group and says,
Who knew the truth about nobles, a twisted crew, although admire, albeit thoughts of dread may cross a mind, forget distress, for stead of darker tale, I will tell one of mirth. I am very versed in giving broken worth.
Here begins the lawyer's tale. It was a warm day in March. The vibrant leaves rustled in the breeze as Delilah walked out of Mr. Ramon's classroom. While walking, Delilah hears her phone vibrating, so she picks it up and sees the name of her best friend May on the screen. Delilah frowns in confusion and answers her phone with a tentative, hello? Delilah hears the roar of the cafeteria in the background and barely picks up her best friend's voice saying, Hey, where are you? I'm heading over to the cafeteria right now. I just finished a makeup test in Mr. Ramon's class. Why? Oh, no reason, Mail trade off mysteriously. Just hurry up and get here. Okay, geez. Delilah rolls her eyes and hangs up the phone, continuing on her way. Finally, Delilah opens the door to the cafeteria and sees her friends gathered in a circle. Suddenly, the circle splits, revealing Chad standing in the middle, holding a bundle of roses. He was smiling with embarrassment as Delilah walked up to him. Hey there, Delilah, Chad said shakily. Will you go to prom with me? Delilah freezes a few steps away from him, her face turning a bright tomato red. Delilah looks up at Chad with slightly fearful eyes. Me? Chad chuckles awkwardly and scratches the back of his head, looking shyly at the ground. Yeah. Delilah looks at the crowd and realizes she's backed into a corner. She can't say no in front of all her friends. What was she going to do? She didn't like him, yet she didn't want to hurt his feelings. She could just imagine the crestfallen look on his face and the uncomfortable looks from the crowd. No, Delilah realized she had no choice, so she mustered up the courage and gave him a slight smile, saying, Sure, Chad, I'll go with you. A bright smile broke across Chad's face as he said, Really? Awesome! He laughed and the whole crowd seemed to sigh in relief. At the smile on Chad's face, Delilah almost felt a little bit better about her decision until she looked up to the eyes of her friend Regina and remembered that Regina had a crush on Chad for almost her entire life. Regina gave Delilah a disgusted look, turned around and walked away from the crowd. Delilah's shoulders slumped in defeat. Will she ever do anything right? Delilah walks over to the table and sits down with a hump and puts her head in her hands, dreading the weeks to come. The time passed slowly at first. Delilah was increasingly regretting her decision, constantly questioning her inability to let Chad down gently. Little did she know what her decision had begun. April quickly came upon the girls, and soon it was time to buy a dress for their first prom. The girls headed out to the Arden Fair Mall. Hours passed by, going from store to store, none of which had the dresses the girls wanted. However, as a last-ditch effort, the girls went to Nordstrom. Walking through the aisles, Regina suddenly saw her dream dress. It was a princess ball gown in a creamy mustard yellow color. The thin shoulder straps were covered with several layers of ruffles, and at the bottom of the skirt was crafted with the most extravagant tulle that contained cubic zirconia crystals. Upon seeing it, Regina's face lit up with excitement, and she exclaimed, This is the one! Immediately, Regina took the dress off the rack and ran straight into the dressing room. As Regina strutted out of the fitting room like a model, Delilah had to hold in her revulsion. She had never seen such an atrocious dress in her life, and she didn't know what to tell her friend. Should she tell her it is unflattering, or should she let her friend remain in bliss, yet be mocked by others? Rather than being honest with her friend, saving her from humiliation at the dance, Delilah looked Regina in the eyes and said, You look really good in that dress. It accentuates your eyes and makes your waist look marvelous. 2 weeks passed by, and Delilah never told her friend the truth about her dress. How could she? It was too late now. Tonight was the night they had all been waiting for. Prom night. The girls met in the early afternoon to begin their pre-prom festivities. After 3 hours relishing in the sweet smell of nail polish and acetone, the girls were ready to do their makeup. Delilah, a YouTube extraordinaire, volunteered to do all of the girls' makeup and hair, but May insisted on doing her own. Delilah began with Regina's makeup, hoping that a bold look would distract people from her disastrous dress by using only her high-end products and tools. First, she contoured Regina's jawline and cheekbones so that they were sharper than a knife. Next, Delilah became giddy with excitement as she applied copious amounts of glittery highlights to Regina's cheeks and cupid bows before applying her own face makeup. Finally, it was time for Delilah to reveal her true artistic abilities. She painted the perfect smoky eye on Regina's lids and a sparkly rose gold on her own, winging both of their eyeliners flawlessly. The girls then paused to revel in their own reflections. They were so in awe with their own beauty that they completely forgot that May was in the room too, until they heard her shriek, "All done!" Delilah smiled complacently as she spun around to the disaster that was May. May's face was smeared with makeup. Her face makeup was poorly blended and far too dark for her fair skin tone. Her eyeliner pointed downward, her eyebrows were overdrawn to the point of a unibrow, and her purple lipstick clung to her teeth when she smiled. Delilah panicked. How could she tell her friend that she looked dreadful, especially when they had to leave soon? Instead, Delilah bit her tongue and choked out, "You look gorgeous, May! Absolutely stunning!" while Regina sneered cruelly.
For hours of preparation, Delilah finally got to her favorite part of any day, dinner. As the car pulled into the restaurant parking lot, Delilah rubbed her hands together in anticipation. Maybe this would make up for any earlier awkwardness. When led to their seats, Delilah sat at the head of the table, much to the dismay of Chad, who could not sit directly next to his lovely date. Regina, on the other hand, was very much delighted by this circumstance. She thought if she sat next to Chad, she may be able to draw his attention away from Delilah and onto her. Delilah's sole focus was on the menu in front of her. She used the menu as a shield to separate herself from the rest of the world. Mainly Chad, though. Once the group ordered and the food came, Delilah ate so much food she felt like bursting, but when asked if they wanted dessert, the group nodded with enthusiasm. The most delicious chocolate cake arrived, and Delilah ate copious amounts of it without thinking about how eating sugar gives her gas. Instantly, Delilah's stomach rumbled, and a look of panic crosses her face. Just as she was about to excuse herself, she let out a silent but deadly fart. The entire group sniffs the air and crinkles their noses. "Ugh, what is that awful smell?" May asked, putting a napkin over her nose. Delilah looks panicked, trying to think of any way to get out of this situation. Then, as if an angel was sent from above, Regina looks disgustingly at the waiter that had just walked past and proclaims,
"It's the waiter! He's so disgusting! How unprofessional! Guess who is not getting a tip?"
As the group is laughing at Regina's comment, Chad chimes in, "More like, here's a tip, don't be disgusting and fart at work." The group roars with laughter, and Delilah looks shamefully at the waiter, feeling pity for her. Yet when she thought about the situation, it was better that it was the waiter than her, so she joins in with the laughter, only feeling a slight pinch of guilt when everyone laughed upon seeing the waitress.
Dinner ended and the group headed out to the prom. Arriving fashionably late, the group sashayed their way to the middle of the dance floor. Regina quickly pointed out the people she didn't approve of. The anime clique standing in the corner playing video games, drama students acting out their latest play, and the gothic students moodily staring at each other. At this point, Delilah doesn't know if she can handle shaming anyone more than she already has. Yet Delilah begins debating, should I join in? Would it be that bad to laugh along with the others? At the end of the night, Delilah's lies and actions were weighing heavily on her conscience. She knew that the way she had been acting since Chad asked her to prom was not right. Delilah knew she had to absolve herself, but she didn't know how. The decision was made for her. As if her body knew it was right, Delilah suddenly felt she could no longer withhold her lies, and she confessed all that she had been holding in. She announced that she didn't like Chad. Regina's dress was ugly. May's makeup sucked. She was the one that farted at dinner, and that she didn't mind people expressing themselves. At the end of her verbal tirade, her body felt immense relief, causing Delilah's stomach to purge herself from all of her guilt, vomiting all over Chad's new shoes. Everyone recoiled in disgust. Once the vomiting subsided, the group felt so bad for her that they decided to forgive her, and everyone lived happily ever after. The end. The lawyer looked around at the dumbfounded group members' faces, smiling brightly.
Well, what do you think?
One of the group members scoffs, looking at her.
That's it? The girl lied repeatedly and did many bad things, yet the only thing that happened to her was a little vomit?
The lawyer smiles at the member.
Well, what really matters is not the fact that she lied, but that she confessed her sins in the end, so all was forgiven. It's simple. Even if you do bad things, you can receive mercy if you tell people what you did wrong.
The host chuckles at the lawyer.
Oh, sweetie, that's not how confessions work. You have to truly regret your actions to receive forgiveness. This girl didn't confess because she felt bad about her decisions. She confessed because she was afraid and felt guilty. She did it for selfish reasons and should have received a harsher punishment.
The lawyer laughs off the host's words, but a look of worry crosses her face and she looks down at the table contemplating her life and decisions.